Happy is he, put his trust.
The gift that has been given to us. Okay? So let's go to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 4. We're not going to keep you long, like you know. That's the thought. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 4. And I really like the way that Yahweh described Moshe and right things. He says, these are the births of the heavens and the earth. In other words, when they were brought into being, as we continue, when they were created. Now, how many of us are familiar with Genesis 1:1 up to Genesis 2:3? Okay? The term that was used in regard to creation, Elohim. Okay? Now, in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 4, finally, we come to a name, a personal name, a designation given to Elohim. These are the births of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heavens. So now, can we all agree, based on what the scripture states right here, that Yahweh Elohim made earth and heavens? Can we agree to that? Based on what we see. Okay? So let's move on. Let's see if we can find some more evidence. 2 or 3, he said. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20 and verse 11. He says, we are familiar with this one. For in 6 days, Yahweh, and again, when it has that Yod, Ed, Ra, E, the tetragrammaton. For in 6 days, Yahweh made the heavens and the earth. That's another witness here, that it was Yahweh who did that. And the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore, Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. Keep that in mind. Therefore, Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. Keep that in mind, right? Remind me that I asked God to keep that in mind too, right? That's 2 witnesses now. Anybody disagree with what the word says here? Okay, let's move on to our 3rd witness. He says in Psalms chapter 95 and verse 6. Now this is actually part of one of the songs that we sing. You hear it once we read it. Psalms 95 verse 6, which reads, come, let us bow down and bend low. Let us kneel before Yahweh our Maker. So this is acknowledging as the creator or the maker, the tetragrammaton, that name. So we have 3 places here that clearly show us that it was Yahweh, Elohim, who created the heavens and the earth. Do we all agree with that? Do we all agree with what the Bible is teaching us? Again, no need for opinion. No need to really elaborate. You just have to accept what the word says clearly. Okay? Now, are these passages true? It's the truth. Y'all understand what you're sure? Is it the truth? Yes. Now let's do some comparison now. All right? Let's go to John chapter 1. Let's see something. John chapter 1. Starting at verse 1. Now, interesting enough, as was mentioned about how the Gospels were written, now we got to ask ourselves a question. Why, Brother Yukon, did you start your history of Mashiach or history. See, whenever that term is used, in the beginning, where does your mind go? It's supposed to. That was the intent and purpose of why he started off this way. So that when people read Bereshit, automatically the mind goes right back to what Moshe started off with. See? Let me tell you something else. Just a little side note. When we talk about the stages, okay, if Moshe represents a first stage, and Yahushua represents a second stage, well, Moshe's writings start off Bereshit, indicating the beginning of something. So the brother who comes starts off with Bereshit, indicating a beginning of something else, a second stage. See? That's food for thought right there with that. So anyway, John chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word. Okay? It says, and the Word was with Mighty One, and the Word was Mighty One. Okay? He was in the beginning with Mighty One. And here we go, verse 3. All came to be through him, and without him not even one came to be that came to be. Let me read that again, verse 3. John chapter 1, verse 3. All. Talk to me about that three-letter word. And we're not talking about the term. Complete. What does that mean? Anything, everything you can think of. All came to be through him. Through whom? Now, what we have found out from what the Torah teaches and what we found in the Psalms, Talim, it says that the Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, he created the heavens and the earth. Here, it's telling us that all came to be through him, referencing the Word. Now here's the question we got to ask ourselves, brothers and sisters, and this is a very difficult question we got to ask ourselves. Is Yahweh Elohim the Word? That's what we got to ask ourselves. Is Yahweh Elohim the Word of the Father? Because there's still a Father. Okay. Now, let me just read that a little more. I have some handouts that I want to pass out to everybody so that we can see something, but I'll get them to y'all in a minute. Now, again, I'm going to jump from verse 3 to verse 14. All right? I'm going to read verse 3 first, but then I'm going to read verse 14. All right? No matter of fact, I'm going to read all of it and jump to verse 14 so we can get a thought here. Okay? So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the Mighty One, and the Word was Mighty One. He was in the beginning with Mighty One. All came to be through him, and without him not even one came to be that came to be. And the Word became flesh and pitched his tent among us, and we saw his glory. Glory as of an only begotten of a Father, complete in favor and truth. Okay? So what we're learning here, this Word, which is being credited with creating everything, became flesh. And when it became flesh, the name that it was given, Yahushua. And you understand that? All right? And the same term is used when it says, an only begotten. Now let's take a look at a couple passages. All right, my brothers, y'all ready? John 8:42, John 16:27, and 28, and John 17:8. Now, I just want to touch on this. It's only these guys.